Hi kitty cats. So today we're gonna do a Mass Monday, even though it's gonna go up on Tuesday because I'm messing up for some reason. But I don't know what's going on in the background. We're gonna do it today, and please share, subscribe, and do all that stuff that's so helpful to me. And I'm sorry that my straps of this dress keep coming down. It's a Gwynnie, and I'm definitely sending it back. It fits everywhere else like really nicely, but the straps will not stay up. They just will not. It's been awful. So I've got this mask. I think I may have done it before. I don't think I have any new masks. This is Skin Balancing Mask. Gold Fading MD, problem for unbalanced aging skin. I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna give it a shot here. Oh, I should read directions first. I mean, they're all pretty much usually the same.
What's directions?
Use on clean skin. Apply a thin layer to face and neck. Leave on for 10 minutes, then rinse thoroughly. Okay. So, yeah. So, I'm just going to put it right on. It's very clear, so you're not going to be able to see it very well. I would like to get some new masks, I guess. I have a lot of small samples like this, though, that I kind of need to use up. But I'd like to have some new ones to try out for Mask Monday. I think I have some sheet masks I can try out still that I haven't tried out before. And who knows what I'll get in my next Ipsy bag. I know a lot of people are getting rid of like Ipsy, or they're switching to the Ipsy Plus, you know. But I know some people are getting rid of it altogether because the prices of the regular Ipsy went up. And I think they're really trying to push people to get the Plus one, but I don't want to do that until my finances are a little bit different and more stable. And, you know, and when Simple Kit Kat has a job so that she can get her own Glam Bag Plus. So, right? Because we would both like to get the Glam Bag Plus. I mean, there's bigger products in it, you know.
I just want more nail polish.
Well, you could do like they have some nail polish subscriptions. But I mean,
and their sample size is literally regular size.
Yeah. In the regular Ipsy, but when you get the Ipsy Plus, like you get palettes and stuff in it too, and full size products. So, anyways, you can see these straps just won't. It doesn't matter what I do the dress.
It's a cute dress.
It's so cute. Yeah. So.
Like I feel like you need to like clip it onto your bra.
I'm just gonna send it back, but I would have anyways. But sometimes I keep things longer if I like it, and I did want to do a photo shoot with this, but I'm not sure with it.
You do
like always falling it down. What, did you put a bobby pin?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought of that earlier. I was like, I should just pin it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so out of it. Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about my life in Albany and certain things that happen there, like stuff that happened in apartments, because I'm kind of inspired because I watched Sppokylips Fat Hips her Instagram stories, and she was talking about this bat that got into the apartment, and so I wanted to like my daughter's like, it sounds cute, and it was freaking her out and stuff. It made me think of all the bats. Like, I don't know what it is about Albany, New York, but a lot of the apartments end up with bats in it. It's a very common thing there. It's so weird, but it's true. And one of, let me turn this light off here. There we go. One of the people that I can't seem to get my words together today. Anyways, So I had a friend, when I lived in Albany, I had a roommate actually, and he met a girl online, and they started a long distance relationship, and she actually moved from California to New York to be with him. We're gonna call him Bobby, and we'll call her Sally, because I'm not gonna use real names of people I know. So me and Bobby went like separate ways of apartments and stuff, and he was living with his sister for a little while, but then when this girlfriend moved, they got a place together. So she moved all the way to California, they got a place together, and the first place that they had, it's really kind of a funny thing, like bats kept getting in, and she is really freaked out about like animals. Animals freak her out. Like, I guess she didn't have any pets as a kid. She seems to like dogs, but I don't know if she would own one. I don't know, and I don't get to talk to her as much as I used to. And if you're watching this, Sally, know that I love you and I miss you so much. And I'm sorry about all the times I picked on you about cheese and animals, but that's a different story. But yeah, she was like really afraid of the bats, and I went over there once and they were like trying to shoo the bat out with like a broom or something, and it turned out that the bats were coming through the ventilations from the attic or something like that, and they finally moved because she was like, I can't take that anymore. And the other story is going to be this guy I know, we'll call him Jimmy. And Jimmy, it was a very expensive person. Like, he had an apartment where everything in it was perfect, and it looked expensive, and it looked like something you would see in like an interior design magazine or something. Like, everything was perfectly in its place and looked like super beautiful and rich looking. He had a baby grand piano in his apartment, and he's really kind of stuck up. But anyways, he really is a very stuck up person. And so I came over once and he was just like, sit down. I was like, I'm afraid to sit down, like, you know. But anyways, getting back to the whole thing, he had this like beautiful giant vase. It was gorgeous, and who knows how much it cost him. And so this one day, one of the bats got in, and it's flying around. He's usually pretty good about the bats. He doesn't like get too upset about them. But this bat like flew right into the vase and would not get out. It was like flapping around in there, making an awful noise, and he was freaking out because he was just like, how do I get this bat out of the vase? Like, he turned the vase over, he like, you know, tried like sticking like a wooden spoon or something into the vase to try and scoop the bat, like, which only freaked the bat out more. And so it was just a disaster. And he called me to come over, and I actually brought Bobby over, as we'll call him. But by the time we got over, the bat finally figured out how to get out of the vase on its own. Because he was like, am I gonna have to break this vase? Am I gonna have to like take it out on the sidewalk and smash it so that this stupid bat can get out? But it finally figured its way out. I think it took like an hour for it to happen though, and it was just really freaky and scary. So there's a story for you. And so those are my bat stories, basically. I'm good telling her a story about Bobby and Sally. So it was my friend's cat. I was taking care of her. That's right. I'm sorry about that. And she had kittens. And so Bobby was like, I want one of the kittens. And he was like, I want to totally surprise Sally with a kitten. Because he's thinking, oh, cute little cuddly thing. Like, my girlfriend's going to love it. It's going to be awesome. And she's going to be so surprised. It's going to be great. And he got a litter box. He was like all set up and ready to go. He was so excited. So he took this kitten home. And he left the kitten there. I don't know what he was thinking. And he thought that it would be fun if she came home and this kitten was just there. And it would be like, ooh, surprise, you know? And so she gets home. The kitten jumped on her leg. She freaked out and just freaked out. She didn't know what it was. And she like kicked into the air. And the poor kitten like went flying into the sofa or something. It was fine, you know. But like she didn't know what it was. Like she came in and something just attacked her leg, and so then she freaked out. And then she said that the kitten kept following her around and she didn't know where it came from. And she called him and he was like, yeah, it's my surprise, you know, we have a kitten and we can name the kitten together and it'll be your first pet together. And she was like, no, like I don't have pets. Like, and she's a person, she was taught like that if you touched an animal or anything, you have to wash your hands like immediately afterwards, no matter what. And so the kitten really freaked it out because it kept following her around, and she was like, why is it following me? It wants to attack me. And she just didn't know. That's why I make fun of her. Because she was like freaked out by a kitten. I don't think she's like that now. But anyways, yeah, that's another funny animal story from Albany. This other story is also from Albany. And the first apartment that I got in Albany was with my husband. And we had a third floor apartment. Oh God, it was just terrible. And we were up in that apartment one day. And I heard this noise. And I thought, that sounds like really weird, like animal noise or something. And so I looked out the window because we were on the third floor and it was just, you know, I wasn't going to go walking all the way down to find out what it was. So I stuck my head out the window and there was a pig. And I'm not talking about one of those pot-bellied little baby piggies, you know, that people... This was a full-grown ass pig. Like, hundreds of pounds running down the street in Albany, New York. And this was not a nice area either. I didn't live if you know where Albany is, or if you live in Albany or ever have, there's Lark Street was nearby, but I was just like out of the area of Lark Street where it just starts to get really kind of shady. And yeah, this pig was just running down the street. So many things happened. That was the first apartment I had there, and the craziest shit happened while I was in that apartment. Like, not just a pig, like there were like, and those are like animal stories. Like there are other stories from that apartment that is just like insane, crazy stuff. One, when we moved in, there was some like little like voodoo bag or something up above one of the doorways. It was like the doorway to the living room area, and it was just a little tiny bag. It had like little bones in it because my husband pulled it and he was freaked out. He was like, oh my God. He was like, I probably just cursed us because I like moved the bones or whatever. And I was like, just get rid of it. Like, just get rid of it. I was like, I got my own way to bless my apartment and everything. And I was like, but he was like completely freaked out. And then on the second floor, there were these lovely people, these Jamaicans that lived there. They were so nice. And I went down there a couple times to talk to them about whatever. And, you know, they very stereotypically smoked a lot of ganja. And so there was always like smoke in the hallway, which did not bother me at all because that shit doesn't bother me, of course. But you go into their place and it was just beautiful. Their apartment, despite the fact that we're living in these crappy apartments in like crappy part of Albany, which is most of Albany in my own opinion. I know some people don't feel that way, but that's just me. And so there were plants. Like they had so many houseplants that was like a jungle. There was no part of their house that didn't have houseplants. And they had 2 parrots. Like that, and it was just beautiful. It was like this it was like entering a little beautiful paradise. And So they decided they were moving, they were leaving. They said they were going to move to Connecticut. I was like, oh, that's nice. And they said they had some family there. And they asked us to help them move some stuff. So my husband was like, yeah. And he was like, I need to move the fridge into the truck. And my husband was like, oh, you want the fridge? And he was like, yeah. And we didn't think too much of it because that happens. Sometimes you go into an apartment and you have to bring your own fridge or whatever. Or you buy your own, fridge because you want a certain type. And yes. And so she was super little then too. She was a toddler.
What are you talking about? Albany?
The first apartment in Albany helped him move this fridge. So we helped him move it. And then later we found out the landlord was freaking out. It turns out they stole the fridge. So we helped them steal a fridge. And the landlord was like, oh, do you know anything? Did you see them move the fridge and blah, blah, blah? And we were like, nope. Because we were like, we're not going to get in trouble for this shit. And he was so mad. He was like, they didn't leave, an address for me. And they owe me money for that fridge. And I was just like, don't know nothing about it. So I guess I'm supposed to wash this off now. But yeah, so that happened there. And lots of weird things happened in that apartment. There was one time, the woman on the first floor, there were two women that moved in on the first floor. They were good friends and they were roommates. And one of them was much more outgoing than the other. And she was like, hey, let's go party, blah, blah, blah. So I went down to her apartment one night and we were going to go out to the clubs. And she was getting all done. I was already done up and she was like, wow, you're already set. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I wasn't planning on going out for a couple hours. And I was like, oh, okay. I was used to going out earlier than she did. And so we're just hanging out in her apartment and we heard some noises outside. Somebody was out there, and then we thought we saw a guy. Because she's on the first floor and her windows were right very close to the sidewalk. And we're kind of weirded out because it was just creepy. He got way too close to the window. And so we were like, what should we do? What should we do? And he's gone. He's been gone for a little bit. So then I just was like, I'm just going to go peek outside because I'm an idiot. And so I open the door and peek outside and there's nothing there. And I'm like, oh, he's gone. I don't know. Maybe he was just looking for something or whatever. And then she was like, or maybe he was putting this in the bush. And I was like, what? And she pointed at the bush that was in front of her window. And there was a knife. A big, knife that you use to, big kitchen knife, And, a big one. We're not talking a little carving, one. We're talking about big-ass kitchen knife. We were just like, what the fuck? Not a cleaver, though, but a big-ass kitchen knife. And we looked at it a little bit closer, and it looked like there may be blood on it, but we weren't sure, and we weren't going to touch it. I was like, don't touch it. And we were like, should we call the police? And we went inside, and we were like, we should probably call the police. And we were discussing what to do because we were both kind of should we? Because we don't want to get involved in whatever the frick is going on. And I was like, I'm just going to go out there again. And then, I'll probably call the police. And I went outside and it was gone. And I was like, oh my God. And we'll call her Andrea. I was like, Andrea, it's gone. And she came out and she was just like, holy shit. And then it was like, what do we do now? I was like, I'm just going to forget this even happened. I'm not going to call the police and be like, yeah, there was this knife here and now the knife isn't there. I don't see the point in doing that. I don't know, later on, thinking back, I'm like, maybe we should have. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it would have helped something in a case. But I never saw anything in the papers or read about anything important. Although I know not everything that the police are working on are in the paper, of course. But I was just like, I forgot all about Lego. But it was just weird. It's like, why is there a knife there? There also was an incident with a naked lady. So I'm up on the third floor, and we hear like somebody screaming. It's very late at night. And we woke up because this woman's like screaming. And so I was like, I'm gonna go downstairs and see what's going on. And I went down there, and she's like slamming on our front door asking to come in. Now, we don't have buzzers on the door, so we have to actually go down and open it. And I was just kind of like, I'm not letting you in. I don't know you. This could be some sort of scam to try and get in, like rob people. I don't know. I was very like uncomfortable about letting people in. So, in fact, the woman who moved in on the second floor after the Jamaicans left, she hated that. She hated that I wouldn't let her friends in when she wasn't there. And it's like, I'm not gonna let people into the building that I don't know because they're your friends. Like, I don't know them. And like, if they do something, it will be my fault for letting them in. So no, I'm not letting them in. And she was always like, we did not like each other. She hated me. She let her cat run around out in the hallway of the apartment building. And it was like, this is a city. You can't have an outdoor cat. And she didn't let it outdoors. She was like, no, I'm just letting it run around the hallway. And it's like, the cat was always meowing to go back into her place. And she would leave it there. She would like go to work and leave the cat out in the hallway with no food, no water. It made me really pissed. I hated her. She hated me. So there we go. Anyways, so getting back to what I was talking about. So I don't know where she was during this incident either. So this woman's like slamming on the door. I wouldn't open it up for her. But she said she needed help, and I called 911. I was like, listen, there's a lady, she's completely naked, and she is like slamming on the door, and she says she needs to get in. I don't know what's going on. They were like, no, you shouldn't let her in. You're doing the right thing. We'll send a car down. And they did, and she ran off. And they had to go find her, and they did find her. She like ran down the street, and they told me that they have picked her up before, and that her and her boyfriend, they've both picked up, and they suspect that they've been squatting in the empty building next to us. And I gave the cop a sweatshirt and was like, here, because my sweatshirt was much bigger. I figured, it'll cover her up, because they had nothing to like cover her up with. And I was like, she can have my sweatshirt, and I don't need it back. She can have it. She obviously needs clothes. So I was like, here. Never saw her again, never heard anything about it again, but I was just always like, there was a naked lady knocking at my door. That's pretty much almost all the crazy things that happened at that apartment, but I'm gonna leave it there. And we'll talk about other crazy things. And then the next one. This is going to be like what I do for a while, is talk about the crazy things that happened in the different places I lived. So that was the first place that I lived in Albany. So thank you for watching. And yeah, I'm going to wash this off. And I know I've used this before, and it's actually a really nice mask. So it is the Solution. It's the Solution Skin Balancing Mask from Goldfaden MD. Let me see if I can. There you go. So if you wanted to get it, it's a pretty nice mask. So I don't know how skin balancing it is, but I do find that my skin feels nice and plump and refreshed afterwards. So yeah. So anyways, always remember to be kind, even when pigs are running down the street. Bye-bye, kitty cats.